Welcome to the iPilot installation video for the Riptide SP trolling motor. iPilot is designed to be a fairly simple installation, and we will walk you through each step in detail. If you have any questions after watching the videos, please call our technical service line at 1-800-227-6433. Before we get started, make sure that your trolling motor is secured properly and that it is in a clean, dry space. Disconnect all power to the trolling motor. This will ensure your safety and protect the electronics that you are about to install. Also make sure that you have the following tools available: Phillips screwdriver, utility knife, needle nose pliers, and a heat gun or some other heat source for installing the heat shrink tubing. If a foot pedal is connected to the trolling motor, it must be disconnected. Once iPilot is installed, the foot pedal cannot be used unless iPilot is completely uninstalled. We're now ready to get started. First, we'll remove the CoPilot cable from the motor. Next, we'll remove the two mounting screws that hold the CoPilot side plate to the motor. I've already loosened the first screw, and here's the second. The next steps in the installation process are done on the base of the motor. We'll start by removing both side plates. Using a Phillips screwdriver, remove all four mounting screws, 2 on each side. I have already removed 3, and here's the 4th. Next, remove the center housing by pushing it on both sides and lifting up at the same time. Next, remove the 4 screws holding the control box cover in place. I've already removed 3, and here's the 4th. The next step is to remove the AutoPilot assembly. Using a utility knife, carefully remove the heat shrink from each of the 6 connectors. This can take some time, so I've pre-cut one to demonstrate the process. Next, remove the wire from the AutoPilot board. Then follow the same process for the remaining 5 connectors. Now that we have the heat shrink and wires removed, we need to remove the circuit board. Push the locking tabs out and lift the board straight up. Finally, grasp the compass and lift it out. The next step is to apply heat shrink to all 6 connectors. This is important to provide electrical insulation and prevent corrosion. I'm going to demonstrate this process on just one connector. Position the heat shrink over the connector, making sure none of the connector is exposed. Now apply heat. Finally, pinch the end of the heat shrink to create a tight seal. Follow the same process for the remaining 5 connectors. Now that you have heat shrink applied to all 6 connectors, we need to route the wires to ensure that there's adequate room for installation of the iPilot controller. Next, remove the grommet by firmly pressing down until it pops out. Next, we will install the iPilot controller. Route the iPilot controller cable through the grommet hole, and then through the center of the coil cord. The next step will be to install the new grommet. Position the grommet over the wire, slide it up, and snap it into place. Now secure the iPilot controller using the 4 supplied screws. Now that the controller is attached, secure the iPilot controller cable to the motor coil cord using 3 of the zip ties provided. Then trim the zip ties. Next, using a Phillips screwdriver, loosen the cable steering relief which is secured to the base of the motor. Position the AutoPilot controller steering cable into the open slot. Tighten the cable steering relief. The cable should slide freely when properly installed. Next, locate the black and white wires coming through the center housing. Using a utility knife, carefully remove the heat shrink from the connections. This may take some time, so I pre-cut them to demonstrate the process. Next, pull the connectors apart on both the black and white wires. Now we need to heat shrink the wires that were previously disconnected. Locate the black wire coming through the center housing. Slide the heat shrink completely over the connector. Now find the black wire coming from the AutoPilot steering cable. This is the cable that was just routed through the steering relief. Plug the two connectors together. Slide the heat shrink over the connector, making sure it is completely covered. Now apply heat. Follow the same process for the white wires. Locate the two remaining disconnected wires. Position the heat shrink over one of the connectors. Make sure none of the connector is exposed. Now apply heat. Next, pinch the end of the heat shrink to create a tight seal. Follow the same process for the remaining connector. Now it's time to reinstall the center housing and the side plates. Push down on the center housing until the side fingers lock into place. Make sure all cables are routed through the exit hole of the housing. Next, reinstall the side plates using a Phillips screwdriver. Use the two new screws provided on the side plate where AutoPilot was installed. Now, connect the AutoPilot cable to the motor cable while verifying proper orientation. Make sure the connector nut is tight. Your AutoPilot installation is now complete. To ensure everything is working properly before getting on the water, please refer to the Verifying Installation section of your owner's manual.